So the question has to do with, are tutors required to finish the training before they can start? Are tutors required to finish the training before they start using counting the calculus? The answer is 50%. So all I need is 2 weeks with a tutor of discussing the ideas of counting the calculus. After that 2 weeks, I actually want them to start so they can start practicing. It's almost like doctor training. Doctors are trained, but they have to be practicing. Well, they're not practicing independently. No, but what I mean, they're under the supervision of another doctor, right, for a season. Some of you will become my supervisors very soon, I'm sure. By the time you start teaching me further mathematics again, I will just step aside. My vision is not necessarily to be the technical expert on all of it. I want to be working with you guys, and all of us will be leveraging our expertise in different aspects of mathematics. So we become colleagues in a sense. We're not, Amos doesn't know all the mathematics, so he needs you guys to also be a resource to him, right? So the point I'm making is Sunday, after just 2 weeks. So let's say the first 2 weeks, so that'll be, let's say the 4th and the 11th of October. After the 4th and 11th of October, oh yeah, everybody, let's go. If I find a student that you can help, I will connect you guys. You start teaching them, and then you start giving, we'll be seeing how you are doing. So we'll give you feedback. Does that make sense? Now, for those of you who want to come under the Counting the Calculus brand, because Counting the Calculus is like a franchise. What that means is that some of you will use it as an add-on to your business. It's not like you have your own business, that's fine. But then after those 2 weeks, you can let us know if you want to be within the Counting the Calculus brand. That means that you are working for Counting the Calculus, if that makes sense. So that's the second option. You can run your business and use us as a side support, or we can have you join our network as a tutor. So there's options for how you want to engage with us. But what I'm trying to say is that after the 2 weeks, I want to start introducing you to some students, right? When students call from Abuja, Lagos, or some other places in the US, we have some families in the US that want to use Counting the Calculus. So students in diaspora, their parents are from Nigeria, but they live in America. I want you to start working with them and record yourself teaching. And then let's have feedback. And if you want to invite me in, I would love to come. And what I'm doing is I'm giving you feedback after the call so that you can begin to step your brand more and more, right? Increase your branding. And now those remaining 2 weeks, after the 4 weeks total, you can now have your certificate that you are also a certified Counting to Calculus tutor. That is the level 1 training. The level 1 training takes 4 weeks, and it allows you to have a certificate. But after 2 weeks, you can start training, start teaching students. You don't have to wait for the 4 weeks. But after the 4 weeks, you get your certificate. You can put it on LinkedIn that you have got your Counting to Calculus certificate, which means that you understand how to teach mathematics systematically from Counting to Calculus. My book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, talks about some of these ideas. That's why I said we should read Tools for Mastering Mathematics. I wrote Tools for Mastering Mathematics when I realized that the American math curriculum was very poor. I know this is going to sound crazy to some of you. Do you know that the primary and secondary school mathematics in America is actually very poor in terms of the standard that it reaches? Compare American math to Singapore or Germany or France or even Nigeria, and you will find out that the students in Nigeria are outperforming or will outperform the students in America if they have the same support for electricity and power supply. If I don't have electricity problems and I use the Nigerian curriculum, I will be better than somebody in the same grade level as me in SS1. I will be way better as a Nigerian student in Nigeria compared to an American student. This is what I've done my research in for 15 years. About 10 to 15 years. I've been studying curriculum around the world, and I realized that Nigeria's curriculum is actually better. That's why I bought all the textbooks now. And even now, I want to start, if people want to buy a Nigerian textbook and they live in America and UK, let's start selling it to them now, because it is better. If you allow this textbook to rub minds with a student in America, that student will be better than somebody who doesn't have it. New General Mathematics is serious, so. I know we might take it for granted in Nigeria, but New General Mathematics is serious business. So if you can get your child to understand New General Mathematics from JS1 to SS3 and get them to understand the further math textbook, they will be one of the best math students anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. From Singapore. I also have the book from Singapore. And what is the #1 country in primary school mathematics? It's Singapore. So if I'm looking at Singapore and I'm looking at Nigeria, and I'm noticing that the best country in math education by many respects has problems that are similar to the one from Nigeria. You guys see what I'm saying? Nigeria has what Singapore has. Nigeria has it. What we don't have is some of the infrastructure. And so one of the things I'm training in my AI literacy, because I also teach AI as a course, one of the things I'm teaching people with AI is that you need to start thinking of how to solve problems in your village and your community using AI as a research assistant to support you in your work. That is the era we're living in, my people. We can solve more infrastructure problems than ever before. So tutors, 4 weeks is what it takes to get a level 1 certificate. However, 2 weeks is all I need, and then I can begin to introduce you to people as we have need to tutor them. But that leads me to a question. What is your business model? You have to have a business model. What is your business model so that when you're starting to use counting the calculus, and I can share with you the business model that we use so you can use it as well. Our business model, we have primary school, we have JS 1 to 3, and we have SS 1 to 3. We break down the pricing based on where they're at. And then number 2, we break down the pricing based on if they want one-on-one tutoring or group tutoring. I'm willing to share all of that with you. So let's talk about that later. And the point is, I want you to also have a very good business model so that you can support as many students as possible with counting to calculus. Now, after you get your level 1 certificate, you can get a level 2 certificate. The level 2 certificate is where you are now entering a realm where you are teaching other people counting to calculus. So level 1 is you know what counting to calculus is, and you can teach a little bit of counting to calculus. Level 2 is you are now entering the dimension where you are teaching people counting to calculus. Level 3, by God's grace, that is where you are now doing a global webinar, like I'm doing right now, and you are teaching 8 to 12 people, for example. You are teaching them their level 1 and level 2 certification. Does that make sense? So my level 3 certification for counting to calculus. So the level 3 certification for counting to calculus allows you to now literally begin to teach teachers around the world how to use tools like counting to calculus. Now, counting to calculus is not just a curriculum. Let's actually define it. It's not just a curriculum. Even though it has curricular materials, counting to calculus in one sense is just a statement. It is saying that you can learn mathematics from counting to calculus, from primary 1 to SS3. That's what we're saying. We're saying, if I ask you right now, can you explain mathematics from primary 1 to SS3, all the topics people need to learn, and all the prerequisites for all the topics? That's what counting to calculus is saying, is that can you teach mathematics? Like if I gave you understanding mathematics, this is understanding mathematics for primary 4. This is the Singapore math curriculum for primary 6. So again, we have Nigeria and we have Singapore. So if you connect, can you take any child from wherever they are and teach them mathematics so that they're able to do New General Math SS3 and get an A1 in WAEC? That's the question. One of the reasons that people don't get A1 in WAEC, which I thank God for the school I went to, a lot of people, A1 in WAEC was very common in maths and science and so on. And one of the things, this was Federal Government College, Ijanikin, Lagos. One of the things that you realize is that that the reason why people struggle in mathematics is because you are trying to teach them the lesson on page 200, but they have not mastered the lesson on page 1. That is why people struggle in mathematics. So then the problem becomes, how do you get them to learn mathematics fast from primary 1 to SS3? Because when they're in SS3 and they're struggling in mathematics, you cannot say, let's sit you down and teach you primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. So what you give them is counting to calculus. Counting to calculus will show them fast, where are you struggling and how can we get you ahead? Do you see what it's doing? Where are you struggling and how can we get you ahead fast? So I know some of the things I'm sharing are going to sound strange because we're not used to learning 6 years of mathematics in 1 year. But with AI tools, it's very possible. So after the 4 weeks, you get your level 1 training. If you want to do another 4 weeks, you can do level 2 training. And then if you want to do another 4 weeks, you now enter the level where now, if Amos says, somebody calls Amos in Lagos, and they say, Amos, can you come to Lagos to do a training? So I can't go and do the training right now. Maybe I'm somewhere else. Guess what? I'll call the people that are level 3 certified. And I'll say, a school has called me and they want me to do training. I can't go to Lagos. Can you go and represent the counting calculus program? And can you teach them how to use counting calculus? And can you teach them how to build a GPT for themselves? And then after you do the training, you can now issue certificates to them. See what I'm saying? What I'm doing is I want to train people on the level 3 program to be able to teach everything I'm teaching as though they'll be representing me as if I'm the one that gave the talk. If you want to get to that level 3 training, there's a lot more training involved, but it is an option for people. Level 1 is what I'm focused on right now. And after level 1, everybody should be able to teach counting to calculus with confidence. Now, does it mean you will know all the mathematics in 4 weeks? Not necessarily, but guess what? You will have access to the GPT that I shared. Everybody saw that GPT. And inside that GPT, I will show you how to learn anything you want to learn fast in mathematics. Once you have the nuts and bolts of mathematics, you can learn anything fast. Do you know that the most important subject in the AI age right now is mathematics and physics? Because if you know mathematics and physics, you can learn anything fast. And let me end with one more thing. In primary school, the most important topic in primary school and GS1 is prime factorization. And I'll tell you why. And you guys are beginning to see how I teach mathematics. Prime factorization comes from the topic of prime numbers. And prime numbers comes from Greece, from a mathematician named Euclid. What you'll notice about how I teach mathematics is I always start with the math history. So in the counting to calculus ecosystem, we also need to know the history of mathematics. Why? So that we can help the students to understand why they are learning what they are learning. You need to know the history and the applications. These are some of the things you learn from the counting to calculus network. So you know the history and you know the applications. You are now telling the student about prime factorization. Why is prime factorization important? Because if you know how to prime factorize, that means you can find the lowest common denominator. And if you know how to find the lowest common denominator, that means you can add fractions of unlike denominators. And if you know how to add fractions of unlike denominators, that means you know how to work with rational expressions in algebra. And if you know how to work with rational expressions, your math skills can allow you to enter calculus. Do you guys see the chain that I just created? Prime factorization, lowest common denominator, fraction addition, algebra, calculus. But notice it starts from prime factorization. This is the way we are thinking about mathematics. We can take anybody from primary school math to JS1 to 3 to SS1 to 3, and we can do it as a straight journey without any problems. That is what a counting to calculus tutor will be able to do. Are there any questions, thoughts, comments, objections? I'll stop the recording. So today our meeting is short because just because we're launching it, but I also I'm having some internet things I need to work through as well, but I need to keep the meeting short and help everybody. You know, I don't know how much data people have, but I'm actually going to address that issue, right? Let me address it right away. I believe that in order to be very effective as a tutor in the AI age, you're going to need to have very good internet. And so I am going to be having some conversations with some companies in Nigeria to see how we can equip everybody in our program with high-speed internet, you know, so that, you know, almost like a partnership. This is something Sunday and I will work on the administrative side, so that whoever is in the ecosystem of our tutoring program, right away, you are receiving a kit. So imagine that this is a kit. Inside your kit, we need to have, do we have high-speed internet with Starlink? Do we have data with MTN? Do we have this? Do we have this? So we have to build that into our business model, because we want all the tutors that get trained through our program to be ready to teach anybody from anywhere in the world without technological challenges. So we want high-speed internet, we want inverters and electricity supply situations. These are the things we can package into our proposal to some of the companies by showing them that we're training top math students or students that want to become good in math, so that those students can help in the AI revolution. So this is homework for me. What I want to do then is I want to begin to create a network so that when people reach out to me in England or Nigeria, or America or Canada or Australia, I will tell them, I have this many spots in my schedule, but I know some tutors that are trained. I know Mr. Charles. I know Mr. Kainde Alabi. I know Mr. Eze Sunday. See what I'm getting at? I want to create a network. But the thing is, when they come and they want to use counting to calculus, which is a very comprehensive math program, all our tutors have to be trained to understand the program itself, because when they are asking for counting to calculus, I want to be able to just point to one of our trained tutors or one of the tutors in our network. What does that mean when I say network? What I mean by that is you can have your job, you can have your own business, and you can be in our network. Because our network is just adding another layer to your financial portfolio where you are teaching counting to calculus. My goal for counting to calculus is to train 1 billion students in calculus by God's grace. The way we are going to do that is we need 10 million teachers and tutors to understand how to guide people from counting to calculus. Now, counting to calculus was originally designed in the United States, but I brought it now to Nigeria, and here's how it applies in Nigeria. When you take New General Mathematics, which I have behind me, so if you look closely, you understand that these are New General Math textbooks. And what I did was I took the New General Maths and I'm able to embed counting to calculus into the Nigerian curriculum. I have JS 1 to 3 and SS 1 to 3 behind me here. And I have primary 1 to 6 of understanding mathematics here, and method mathematics as well. Why is this all very important? Because what counting to calculus is saying, is that how you learn mathematics in the age of AI has changed. How you learn mathematics in the age of AI has changed. Can everyone hear me still?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I can hear you.
So,
We can hear
okay,
you.
perfect. How we learn mathematics in the AI age is very different from how I learned it when I went to Federal Government College, Lagos. Let me explain what I mean. When I went to Federal Government College, Lagos, and I was in SS1 S or SS1, which one was I? Sorry. I was in SS1 S. This was the textbook we were using. And I did not have access to these other textbooks because I wasn't in SS2 or SS3. But what happens if I've mastered everything in the SS1 textbook? What should I do with my time? Back then, you just wait till you go to SS2, and then you wait till you go to SS3. But with counting to calculus, what if you can embed all of this into a AI prompt? So now you've embedded the whole topics into an AI system. And I actually did this. I'll share it in the group chat. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Do you know that now any child in any school in Nigeria can learn mathematics from primary 1 to SS3 at their pace, and potentially by primary 6 or JS1, they would have finished the whole curriculum to SS3? Just think about that for a second. The reason why they can do that is because you can condense everything into an AI system. So every tutor that wants to be relevant in the AI revolution should make sure they know how to use AI very well. That is what I'm trying to get at. And if you know how to use AI very well, you realize that the whole AI system has been embedded into the AI, like the whole internet is inside the AI prompts that everybody has. So that's why when you type inside ChatGPT, how do I understand this? ChatGPT has access to the whole internet inside it. My people, that is phenomenal. The fact that anybody can learn anything they want to learn at any time at their own pace, that is amazing. So how now can we prepare tutors for this AI revolution? Well, here's the thing about AI. Here's the thing about AI that is crazy. So AI has all the internet inside it, is now inside AI. From counting to calculus is the world's first global math curriculum that covers all the topics for every student from any nation, from counting to calculus at the pace of that student. That's what counting to calculus is. Why is counting to calculus important at this time? Because counting to calculus is saying that no matter where you live in the world, you need to know how to graph polynomials. No matter where you live in the world, you need to understand vectors and scalars. No matter where you live in the world, you need to understand polynomials. You need to understand linear algebra. You need to understand matrices. Why is this important? Because the oil of our time, The commodity that matters the most is AI. And that commodity is something every nation of the world is trying to understand. That means that the counting to calculus tutors can prepare students from any country of the world for the necessary mathematics they need to do AI. Now you guys see what I mean. So this is a global movement of tutors from across the world. And what we want to do is we want to start creating a few things. Number one, we want to train 10 million teachers and tutors. Number two, we want to support businesses. I see that one of the people on the call, yours says a learning hub. So what we are saying is that learning hubs can deploy counting to calculus to support their own mission for their specific needs. So we train tutors, we train tutoring centers, we train schools, we train governments, we train corporations, we train everybody to learn mathematics for the AI age. Because not knowing mathematics is no longer an option. Everybody needs to learn mathematics and learn it well. But we need a systematic structure that can guide people from counting to calculus. And that's what we have created. Now, we'll give you the curriculum. I've already shared the PDF with the topics. There's 247 topics that can guide anybody from basic mathematics of primary 1 all the way to SS3 mathematics. There's 247 topics, and we know what those topics are. Number two, there's videos that go with those topics. And one of the things that our tutors can do here is go ahead and start recording sample videos of different topics. And we can begin to share your videos in different communities. So now people are getting to know about you and your own approach to teaching. Remember, we're trying to train 1 billion students. So there's enough room for more tutors to join us. So if you know somebody that wants to join the movement, feel free to share our information with them. Let them apply and do the course. The course is only going to be about 4 weeks long. And then we are deploying and say, well, yeah, start. You basically get a certificate of completion. And that means that you can start telling parents, I know the counting to calculus curriculum, which is a global curriculum that can give your child an edge, an advantage to become the best in mathematics anywhere they go to school. When people use counting the calculus, what should happen is they will start becoming the best in their school. That should be the default. Why? Because counting the calculus does not care about grade level or age. It cares about mastery. Have you mastered prime numbers? Have you mastered lowest common multiple before you learn how to add fractions? You have to master the prerequisite knowledge. Let me share something with you all. This is from a GPT that I built, and I'll teach you all how to build your GPTs. So let me go back. I want to share this. Everybody, please feel free to join this GPT that I'm going to give you. It's called Counting to Calculus. And so we have a GPT now that we've built. And this GPT can show you how to teach counting to calculus more effectively. So let's go here. Give me 1 second. So this is the counting to calculus GPT. Let's see, copy link address. Let me see if it will put it in the chat. Okay, so in the chat, okay, no. Actually, if you go to the GPT, if you go to Chat GPT, you should be able to find counting to calculus. But give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay, I found it. Perfect. So now, I to calculus with the link. If you don't have ChatGPT resources, but what you and this GPT allows counting to calculus. Next week Saturday, I'll teach you how to build a GPT for yourself. I can send you some video resources if you want before next Saturday. But the goal is that you can build a GPT for your own learning center. You can build a GPT for your own school. You can build a GPT for you specifically. Anything you need to build the GPT for. And the GPT, when you ask the GPT questions, let me actually show you guys what it will do. So I'm going to ask my GPT a question, okay? Everybody see how it works. So I'm going to say, so this is my GPT. And you can see that there is a way to create the GPT, okay? You create it, and I've created it. And if you look at this, the first thing is I had to give it a name. So I gave it a name. Then I gave it a description. It guides learners from basic math to advanced science and calculus mastery. So that's the description of my app. And then I told it that these are the topics I wanted to teach students. And then I told it that after every prompt, it needs to tell them to go and watch my lessons on YouTube, or they can join the learning community, or they can get my journal on Amazon. And then look at the questions on the left side of the screen. Help me understand derivatives from scratch. Help me understand. I'm going to change this question. Look at the right side of the screen. See what's going to happen in the right side of the screen as I type. So look at this. You see what's happening on the right side? It's changing it in real time. And I'm going to say, how do I... Okay, this one I'll leave there. Okay, so I'm going to say, how do I learn mathematics from basic arithmetic to calculus? Okay, and I'm going to say, I'm going to add one more document later, but basically I'm going to say, how do I learn mathematics from basic arithmetic to calculus? Everybody see that? And then I'm going to actually have this. I want to move this up. Okay, it's okay. Let me do this. I want that to be the first thing they see. Okay, so I'm moving everything else down to the bottom because I want them to see. Actually, give me 1 second. Okay, and then I'm going to copy that. Okay, perfect. So when somebody comes, they'll say, how do I learn mathematics from basic arithmetic? Or how do I learn math from basic arithmetic to calculus, right? The idea is that the student, do you see? The student will see this and they will click on it, and I'll show you what it will do for them. So I'm going to update. So notice that we're updating the GPT. Now, when somebody wants to learn, they go to my GPT called Counting to Calculus, and they will click on that first question that I just showed everybody. While this one is loading, let's go to another tab. And I'm just going to tell it, ChatGPT. Okay, so I'm going to use just here. I'll click on Counting to Calculus when it loads. And you guys will see how we're building a GPT. So I click on Counting to Calculus, okay? So notice what it says. Look, remember where I showed you, how do I learn math from basic arithmetic to calculus? Enter. Look at what it's going to do. So the AI is basically showing you that you can learn math a certain way. But I was the one that did some of the training by uploading some of the documents. But notice what it's showing. It says you can learn the foundations, and then you do pre-algebra, and then you do algebra 1 and 2, and you do geometry and trigonometry, pre-calculus, and calculus. This is like somebody mentioned they want to learn international mathematics. This is the American system right here. I've given it to all of you free of charge. This is the American system of how they learn mathematics. And what we now have is at the end, look at what it says, that there are journals to guide them. These are journals that we've uploaded. But then look at what it says at the very end. This is the most important part. It says your first steps today. Those first steps are actually telling them, watch a lesson from Amos's YouTube channel, join the journey using Amos's course, write as you learn using his journals. This was programmed into the GPT back here. Do you see what I'm saying? What I programmed here now, anybody in the world, if they download Counting to Calculus GPT, this is what it will tell them. So if you know how to use AI, you can help millions of people at the same time. That's part of what AI is very good at. So please feel free to download the Counting to Calculus app. Feel free to play around with it. Feel free to ask me any questions, and we can help you build your own GPT. So one of the things that we'll do is we'll teach you how to build a GPT, because I want all the tutors that are in our network to be very good with AI and help with our goal of helping everybody learn calculus. Why do we want everybody to learn calculus? Let's answer that question. The reason why I want everybody to learn calculus is not because they want to become engineers, even though that is very important. The reason why I want them to learn calculus, number one, is because it's beautiful. So I believe God created the world, all right? He created the heavens and the earth. And if we study the world that God has made, we'll see calculus inside. We'll see calculus behavior. So number one is I believe that we should study the world that God has made. Number two, calculus is a key. It will open doors. You guys see what I'm saying? Calculus is a key. If you know calculus, you can open doors in STEM careers. The reason why I'm telling you this now is because some of your parents will ask, why are you making my child learn calculus now? I let him play outside. Why are we learning calculus? Because if he knows calculus, he can do many things with his life, or she can do many things with her life, right? So number one is we want to understand the world better. Number two, we want to understand how this can open doors for people. Number three, calculus is beautiful. My people, calculus is beautiful. Have you guys ever done a math problem and at the end you almost want to cry because of how beautiful the problem is? It's just beautiful math, so you have to remind me this topic. And partial fraction decomposition. Does anybody recognize those topics I just mentioned? Maybe next time we'll look at some partial fraction decomposition. But the point I'm making is that there are some problems that are beautiful. They are so beautiful. And if you are teaching the children algebra, why wouldn't we teach them calculus? Because algebra is like giving them plier and spanner. But calculus is when they actually get to start building something with what they are learning. So what is this workshop or this webinar training for? Number one, I want everybody to learn the path from counting to calculus, the most efficient path in the world for learning mathematics from counting to calculus, which can be done in less than 2 years. Yes, I repeat it. Primary 1 to SS3 math in the age of AI can be done in less than 2 years. That is what AI can do. Because AI can tailor the learning better for everybody. So what would we do with our time if everybody is learning math in 2 years? The point is we should start raising the bar of our expectations from our students. Before people got calculators, we only give them certain types of problems. When they got calculators, we can expand their learning ability. Everybody should expand their learning ability. That is what calculus is about. Okay, well, that's what counting to calculus is about, is that we're raising the bar because we now have tools. Number two, I want everybody on this call and every parent and every teacher to learn how to use AI. Because if they know how to use AI, they can help their children become very good at mathematics fast. Number three, so number one, we need to know what counting to calculus is. Number two, we need to know how to use AI very well. Number three, we need to grow our business strategy. What I mean by that is that as you learn to use counting to calculus, you need to now start marketing that you can use counting to calculus so that you can grow your business. Because imagine that a shop has started selling a new product or can use a new product. That means you get more customers because now they are coming for that new product you have. And number four, I'm here for you, please. So keep on asking questions, keep on giving me feedback because we're building something that can change the world by God's grace of mathematics. We're building something that can help every child in every village, in every country learn mathematics effectively. And that's part of what counting to calculus is about. So any feedback you have will be helpful. When you start using counting to calculus, ask me questions because you will probably have some questions. You will have some things that you have to walk through. Ask questions anytime because you have now joined a community of global scholars that want to transform mathematics. And lastly, every year, by God's grace, I want to invite all the Counting to Calculus certified tutors to join me in Cambridge University every year. Come to Cambridge University, let's meet, let's see where Isaac Newton did some of his work when he invented the calculus. Another man that invented the calculus is Leibniz. If we have time, we'll go to Germany and look at what Leibniz did. But please, everybody, get your passports ready. In August of 2026, we're inviting everybody who is in the Counting to Calculus network, come and join us in Cambridge for a few days. Let us brainstorm. Let us talk about the lessons we're learning. Let us challenge one another so that when we go back to our countries, we're implementing it better and better and helping more and more people. So Counting to Calculus is a global phenomenon that is inviting everybody every year. I would love to have people come and learn together. We'll also go to Isaac Newton's house where he actually talked about the ideas, some of the ideas that came to calculus. Counting to calculus is not just learning theory. We are changing the world of mathematics. That is my heart cry about mathematics. So welcome to Counting to Calculus. Welcome to a new era in mathematics, a curriculum that will keep up with AI. AI is running on mathematics. AI is running. So the crazy thing is that mathematics drives AI, and AI gets better by using mathematics. It's crazy. It's a loop. Mathematics is at the core of AI. Mathematics is at the core of the chips that are designed to run AI. Everything about AI is mathematics and physics. So we have to train tutors, as many as possible. And guess what? You can be a secondary school graduate and enter this program. And so even just somebody with a secondary school degree, because of AI, can be trained and become a world-class tutor. And they can even be doing it as a part-time job while they are doing their university education, because we need more and more people to teach mathematics from counting to calculus. Thank you so much. This is our welcome inaugural event. Are there any questions, thoughts, comments, objections? I'll stop the recording and we'll take any questions before we close for the day.
Thank you so much, sir.
So we're talking of the duplication problem. So these videos I'm recording, I'll save it somewhere and I'll share a folder so everybody on this call will have access to go back, if you see what I mean. But one of the things that you brought up is we repeat topics too much sometimes. Now, before AI came, maybe we needed to do that because somebody, you don't know what school they attended last year. So now you have to review materials for them. But with AI now, everybody has everything they need inside the AI tool. So if everybody has everything they need, our classrooms and our engagement should be a little more interesting, because we don't have to be repeating topics. We should be more creative and add new topics that we haven't even talked about. I understand that some of this is a government problem, but remember, as tutors, you have more flexibility than a school. If you are in a school, you have to work within the parameters. But as a tutor, during the holidays, you can teach any topic, right? But show the parents that the topics you are teaching are tied to helping their students become exceptional in mathematics. So AI helps us build math. Math helps us build AI models. AI gets better using some mathematics. AI chips are built using mathematics and physics. Notice that it's all mathematics. So one of the modules, let me give you one example, and I'll share it in our group chat. Our group chat can be a lively a professional development community. In our group chat, I want to share a worksheet I made. This last few days, there was a lot of AI explosion happening. People are building AI infrastructure. They are doing different things. They are building gigawatts of factories. So now when I saw it, I said to myself, why don't we create a chapter in a textbook called AI Mathematics that explains what gigawatts means, that explains how AI is used in building businesses. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Why don't we build a new lesson now that is meeting the needs of understanding the technological advancements happening now? Some of us are using textbooks the examples are from 1998. This is 2005. The kind of technology happening was not there in 1998. So if you understand counting to calculus, you can build on top of it any math module that you want. That's the beauty of counting to calculus. Is the idea that we can create, give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, sorry, I'm just going to add this. In the future, I'm also going to add a live stream on YouTube that you can share with your friends in case they want to hear about what we are doing first before they sign up for what we have to offer, if that makes sense. Let me just see if this is working. Give me 1 second. Okay, perfect. And I'll share the link with you all. So this is going to go counting to calculus training for parents and teachers. Okay, this will just make it much easier. So I'll share the link with you all. You guys can share it with your friends. And then we want to keep growing the community of people that are thinking about the issues that we're talking about. So duplication is a serious problem, and we need to deal with that problem in our math programs around the world. This duplication problem is everywhere. People are duplicating math topics. You've learned it in JS1. You now learn some of it in JS2. You know that some of that duplication makes some students to give up on mathematics. Some students are not interested in learning mathematics because they think it's boring. How can somebody think that mathematics is boring? I apologize. 1 second. Okay, so now I'm going to share the link with all of you. So I've shared the link. Feel free to use that link to see if it's working. Let me see. I just shared a link, but I'll give it to the guys also on the group chat. I want to address one thing that Mr. Charles mentioned, and then we'll carry on. So the idea of this stream is that some people are not comfortable using Zoom, so they can use this link that I've shared now. So please remember, our goal is 1 billion students to receive the highest quality of math education. And if we're going to get 1 billion students, we need to have as many teachers as possible. If you want to become a level 2 or level 3, feel free to reach out as well. Okay, questions, thoughts, comments, objections on the duplication problem with math education globally. While we are on, I want to mention a couple of things. We're going to continue this live stream every week. And basically, the idea, God willing, during these live streams is to be able to discuss AI, mathematics first. Before anybody uses AI, they need to understand the mathematics part of AI. If we don't have the mathematics first, it will be a problem. And so I'm just putting it in our group chat. This is the live stream too. Okay. So I put it in the group chat. So one of the things I'm willing to offer to all the tutors and parents, so parents, tutors, educators, one of the things we want to offer you is digital literacy tools and AI tools to help you better help students to learn mathematics. The time has come where everybody around the world needs to understand mathematics. They need to understand mathematics from counting to calculus. This is very critical at this point in history. Why is it important? Because if you don't understand mathematics, you will be limited in what fields you can explore in STEM. But the reason you should want to understand mathematics is not just because of the skills that you want to learn, it's also because mathematics teaches you how to think. I have one of our instructors that will be coming and sharing with our group is from India. And he says to us that if you don't know how to do mathematics without AI first, you would ruin your math career because AI will make you lazy. That's what he will say. And I agree with him. What he's trying to say is this: before you use AI, make sure you understand the mathematics of AI. So one of the things I've designed, and I'll grab a copy here. Give me 1 second. Let me grab a copy. So one of the things I've designed, this is the first book we're reading in our course, Tools for Mastering Mathematics. All parents and educators can read it. It's free of charge on my website, livingsensibly.org. I put it on my own personal website, livingsensibly.org, and you can click on books and you'll see free books there. These Tools for Mastering Mathematics tells the story of all the things that we have problems with in math education, at least here in America, and how to help your children to become good in mathematics. The second part of my book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, this part is talking about what are the skills that you need to learn and be able to reference. So, for example, does everybody know the set theory? Does everybody know classification of real numbers, properties of real numbers, properties of exponents, properties of radicals, properties of logarithms, basics of statistics and probability? In Nigeria, we called it four-figure table. This was called a four-figure table. If you remember, in Nigeria, they will give you something like a four-figure table that gives you reference for different formulas. That's what we did in part 2 of this book. We're giving all our students access to a reference. Does that make sense? They have a reference guide. So we don't have to teach them how to properties of logarithms again and again and again. We give them squares and cubes. The reason why we give them squares and cubes is because we need them to know all their squares and their cubes. So if I tell you what is 6 cubed, you should know that it is 216. Why is it important to know the cubes? Because if you know the cubes, then you will be able to do work related to factoring polynomials. See, everything in mathematics is connected. That's why if somebody is struggling, they need to go back and learn the topic that they are struggling in. And then the last part of my book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, I give you all the list of topics, all of them. These are all the topics from counting to calculus. I extracted all the topics from all the textbooks, from all the cities, everywhere, and I put it as one list. It's just a list. But now with AI, you can just say, give me 5 examples for how to determine the slope of a graph. Enter. Do you see what I'm saying? Give me 5 examples for how to determine the slope of a graph. Enter. And it will give you the examples. AI can give examples. AI can give practice problems. AI can give different resources. And now, guess what? There is now video generation AI. So AI can even make the video explaining the concept and deliver it to you immediately. This is interesting times we're living in. So why does anybody fail mathematics? Why is anybody going to fail mathematics anymore? Because they don't care. That's one of the reasons. One of the reasons. Some of them might not care to use the tools available to them. So that's why we teach the history of mathematics. That's why we teach the applications of mathematics. We have to teach the history of mathematics and the background knowledge of mathematics. Why should somebody learn logarithms? Why should somebody learn exponents? Who came up with logarithms? It was a Scottish mathematician, John Napier. So we need to teach people how the history behind the mathematics that they're learning. Lastly, I've made these workbooks for people. This is a workbook called Statistics Workbook for Everyone. And then I made other ones, Elementary Algebra Workbook for Everyone. What do these workbooks do for people? And this is something I want to bring to Nigeria. So tutors, if you have a shop and you want to talk about how to be a distributor for counting to calculus workbooks, we should talk after, please. Because I want to help everybody in Africa learn how to take notes and how to use AI to learn a lot of mathematics. What are these workbooks? The idea of these workbooks is, remember I told you about in the different topics that people are learning, like a reference. I put it in the workbook. So basically at the end of the workbook, they have all the properties of exponents. Okay, so they have all the properties of exponents. They have different things that they can refer back to. They have a PEMDAS or board maths, we call it in Nigeria. So they have all the resources at the end of the workbook for them. But inside the workbook itself, we have a textbook that we're using as a guide. You open your workbook, you open your textbook, and what you do then is you basically say, I want to learn topic 1. You now open your workbook to that topic. And you have a topic page, definition of statistic probability and key terms. You now copy the examples in your workbook from your textbook or the examples that your tutor has given you or AI. And then you use the other page to graph. After you finish this workbook, you keep it together with all the 16 workbooks in one place. What that means is if you ever need to go back, you have all your notes in one place. And you have all the references you need also at the end of the workbook. So then the workbook becomes it's like your secondary school textbooks. I have my secondary school notebooks till today for my chemistry class. So I can go back and review my chemistry notes from secondary school. This is what this is for you. So this one is on statistics. We have one for calculus. We have one for pre-algebra. The textbooks that you use, we have recommended textbooks, but it doesn't matter what textbook you use, because in the age of AI, textbooks are actually not the most important thing. The most important thing is the roadmap for learning mathematics. How can you learn the topics in order? And that's exactly what counting to calculus is. So same time next week, we'll go from about 1:30 Central Time in America or 2:30 Eastern Time. And then we will do the same thing and go till in Nigeria, that will be 7:30 to 8:30. And then we can talk about any questions. We'll do a live stream. We'll answer any questions that people have, and we'll go from there. Questions, thoughts, comments, objections. And those who are watching on YouTube, they can also give us their feedback. Any questions, thoughts, comments, objections? Well, thank you so much for spending time with me. This is going to be an exciting journey as we try to teach 1 billion students mathematics from counting to calculus. And the way we're going to do that is the first step is recognizing what are the key topics from primary 1 or first grade all the way to calculus. Can we line them up in order of difficulty without any duplication? And then can we start teaching people systematically using a mastery-based model, topics from counting to calculus? That's what we're hoping to do with this program. We want to train teachers, parents, and educators to transform math education globally. Thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you same time, same station next week. But in between, you can always email me anytime if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, objections. I'll go ahead and stop the live stream now. For those who are watching the live stream, please visit our website, countingtocalculus.org, countingtocalculus.org. I will also include in the live stream a link to our GPT. So our GPT link allows people to be able to use our GPT to learn mathematics. So the Counting to Calculus GPT is included in the comments section as well. I'll put that in the description section. Everybody who joins this program will learn how to use AI. They will learn how to use different digital literacy tools. Thank you again. Let me stop the live stream now.